In this video, we're going to be taking a quick look at units in HTML. So what I have here is our index page, and I've included some inline styles for several lines of text. And each one will demonstrate a different size or a different unit that's available in font sizes. Let's take a look at the page. This is the page, and it's showing the various sizes from XX small, X small, small, medium, large, extra large, double extra large. And then smaller is smaller than the default or the closest font size property in the document tree. In other words, if you have set a font size in the body in your HTML, this will be a little bit smaller than that default size. And this is a little bit larger than the default size. You also have available pixels, and you can define the text at a certain pixel size. This happens to be 18 pixels. And you can also use percentages. So 200% is 200% of the standard default size that you have set in the document tree. And then finally, you can use what's called ems. And em is a measure that relates as well to the closest font size property in the document tree. So failing this, if your browser has a default font size attribute of 16 pixels, and this is 2 ems, then your end result will be a typeface that is 32 pixels in size. Now let's go back and just take a look and see how this actually plays out in the code by putting div style equals font size colon xx dash small creates xx dash small text. To define font at a pixel size, you do font size colon 18 px. For percentages, similar, it's rather than px, you use a percentage. And for ems, you use the number and em. Let's take a look again at the rendering of this text. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the view, and I'm going to zoom in and zoom out because I'm interested in this browser. Chrome has zoom in and zoom out, and we can actually make the text get bigger and smaller. So I'll use the command plus to make the text bigger and minus to make it smaller. Now with some browsers and some devices, if you define the text in pixels, the browser may not change the size if you are able to make it bigger or smaller. And that's a problem with PX if you want to develop websites for smaller devices such as phones or pads. You don't necessarily want to limit the browser to always rendering the text at a certain pixel size. You would probably want the fonts to get smaller if they're on a smaller form factor. So this is why, in general, we'll be using percentages or ems as our font units. One last thing, in HTML5, there's a new kind of a unit. It's called a rem, which is short for relational em. And it relates to browser font size only. In other words, if you have responsive websites and you want to allow the text to get bigger or smaller, relational em works a little bit better than regular em. And relational em is supported in Internet Explorer 9 and better, Firefox, the most recent versions of Firefox, Chrome, Safari 5, and even the most recent Opera. So if you have the opportunity to use rems as opposed to ems, do so in HTML5.